Oh, yeah. And here we go again. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, once again to Cast Iron Wednesday. This, of course, is a tradition that many of these smaller YouTube cooking channels have been doing on YouTube on Wednesday for the past several years or so. It's pretty simple. For the fun of it, and because we enjoy using cast iron, we do a video about cast iron each Wednesday. Well, at least whenever we feel like it. Nobody's required to do it. I've somehow managed to do these live videos for just over 3 years and counting each Wednesday, with a few exceptions. So it's really a lot of fun. And of course, that's the reason why we do this, as well as that's the reason why I like coming here every Wednesday to open up my kitchen to you. And welcome once again to my kitchen, everybody. Because, yes, we are here once again on this lovely Wednesday evening, getting ready to watch and as I do another Mystery Science Theater episode where you folks are the ones who do the snarky comments, while I do my best to try to survive another night of cooking live on YouTube in my kitchen. Because what could possibly go wrong with a live cooking show? And yes, and but nonetheless, though, thank you as always to everybody who's been kind enough to show up here, including all the regulars as well as new people who show up. Like, we have, for instance, Cynthia Wesley and Mike Washburn is the neighbor here again. No, I haven't seen her today, so who knows? She might show up, she might not. Hello, Jimmy Langford and JIR Finishes. Hello, nice to see you here. RT Scott and Corey Clark. And hello to Rick Stumbow and Val's Black Cats Rule and Craig Werner and Honey J Badger and Cindy Wesley and quite a few others who've been kind enough to show up here every week. And thank you very much as well for watching. Because, well, we are doing a nothing too risky tonight. Although it's not like me, it seems like, to actually do a multi-part dish. I mean, usually my dishes have been of the one pot and one pan variety because they're easy and they are a lot of fun to make, and well, also because they're simple. Granted, what I'm doing tonight still isn't too difficult. Essentially, as the title suggests, I felt like, or I was inspired, I should say, to prepare a dish simply of pasta and sauce with a nice roasted chicken breast laid atop of it, because, of course, that makes for a well, good dinner combination. And just to make it interesting, and it's still not difficult to do. I'll be doing the sauce from scratch, as well as, of course, cooking the chicken in cast iron. I am not making pasta from scratch. I have yet to be able to successfully do that, but I'm still working on it. So yes, it wouldn't be any other place. Well, thank you very much, Cynthia Wesley. So, and yeah, and Honey J Badger, and yeah, but well, as I mentioned, that of course means we get to play with some cast iron tonight. I'm thinking the part I should start out with first would be the chicken, because after searing it in the pan, we'll be roasting it in the oven. So that means we get to look at a couple of nice big chicken breasts that I have already cut up, and I've essentially, we're going to be. Oh, here goes my tripod again. I really need to glue this. Essentially, we're going to be treating these chicken breasts the same way we treat a steak. As you can see, I've had this resting on a rack, coated with kosher salt in the fridge for about the last hour or so. To this, I forgot I need to add a little bit of ground pepper as well, because I love ground pepper. And yeah, that of course is the best way to prepare a steak, which is exactly how we're going to be managing this. It is a skin on chicken breast. It was bone in, but I did cut out the bone. So that means this is nice and simple, and that also means we get to play with a hot cast iron pan. So time to move over to my favorite place in the kitchen, the stove. as we take a look here at a member of my cast iron family here. This is a nice number 10 size, about 12.5 inches, Birmingham stove and range. Cast iron skillet. This is their Century series as well. In fact, before I put anything on it, let's here it is. Here is that leather handle uh, holder. Let's show you that this is in fact from their Century series here, and I've estimated it to be about the mid 1970s to the 1980s. So this is a nice, well, yeah, just about, yeah, the Century. I'm sorry, the 70s are not as young as they used to be, so that kind of means that just about everything now is vintage, it seems like, from DSR. So all we can do at this point is get to some cooking because I've been preheating this pan already. So chances are it should be good enough. In fact, let's double check here. Throw on the old thermometer here. Oh yeah, no problem at all. This thing is definitely hot enough to sear a steak or a chicken breast. So that means I get to put in some of my favorite, well, not favorite, but convenient frying oil. With this stuff here is pretty much a combination of mostly canola with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil mixed in. Get this going. And essentially, this is how you cook a chicken breast in the same way you cook it as a steak, meaning that it's really not difficult to do. Cooking a steak is actually very easy. And I'm starting, of course, with skin side down. Which also gives me a chance to throw a little more ground black pepper on the other side. And we will just be searing this for about 3 minutes or so. There we go. And yeah, you can pretty much say that there's nothing to it. And while that is searing, I can quickly rinse off the plate so that I can use the same plate when this is done. Not much to say in that this is just these are two nice large fat chicken breasts from Price Chopper, from the regular poultry section of the supermarket. I'll only mention this once tonight, I promise. I make a point of boycotting and avoiding anything with a stupid organic label as much as possible, because all we're really paying for is the label. And that's about all I'll say there. The number 10 skillet, large enough to hold a 12-pack of beer. Just about, yes. But I don't feel like searing that 12-pack here over 550 degrees heat. And Papa Dan, well, I'm sure he'll be showing up anytime, not to worry. Yeah, and likewise, Billy Lee as well, apparently, is meant to be showing up. But I'm not too worried. Everybody, of course, is free to come and go on this channel as they please. Anyway, I'm not going to be thoroughly cooking this in the pan either. As I said, this is going to go into the oven. But what, of course, we do want to do is get a good sear on the outside for some of that science, aka the Maillard reaction that everybody talks about and everybody loves. So I'm thinking within about a minute or so, we'll be able to flip this. Here we go, searing. Yes, exactly. But yeah, we got some nice cast iron ASMR going on here. The good old sound of searing meat. And onto the other side it goes. All right, we seared one side for about 3 minutes. The other side we're only going to sear for about a minute or so. After which point I get to throw some butter into the pan. And I better get out the probe thermometer here and set it, because that's what's going to be happening after this goes into the oven. I've said many times that for the last few years, I have since become a heavy duty convert to cooking meat by temperature. I mean, especially with any kind of meat, the temperature is pretty much crucial. The chicken, of course, we don't want to be undercooked or overcooked, especially chicken breast. And now that we've done that, we'll give it one more. And here's the part where we get to throw some butter into the pan. All right. There we go. Sorry, don't want to get my hand inside the camera like that. My apologies, folks. All right, and now that we've got the butter into the pan, you could turn it over again so that the underside of this breast is now sauteing in the butter. Whereas for this side, where did I just put that handle cover? Here it is. This side now is where we start basting as best as I can on camera. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit. All right. Anyway, we only need to do this for maybe about another minute or so. And then the rest of this will go into the oven while we move on to part 2. And part 2 would be the sauce. Yeah, we'll be doing the pasta last because that won't take very long. All right, I think I went over the hubby with my gravy skills. Well, congratulations for that. How long planned for me to get my plate? Well, I do hope this should all be ready to serve. Is that spoon anything special? It is part of a flea market find. I came across a set of what appears to be gold-plated utensils that I think came from a wedding set or something. Besides the fact that they're supposedly gold-plated, I really like them because they're thick and heavy more than anything else. And if I'm lucky, though, maybe sometime I'll find a better set of utensils. But as it stands right now, these are pretty good. All right, so now, how did this thing get all twisted up? Sorry, somehow I got a knot in my wire for this probe thermometer here. So let's undo this. There we go. In goes the thermometer. There we go. And into the oven it goes. The oven has been preheated to 375 degrees. I can turn this off for the moment. Remove the handle cover. And let's adjust this as quickly as we can. Turn this on. Set the timer for 160 degrees. Wow, this thing already says 127. I wonder if that's right. Maybe I should reinsert the thermometer, because that seems, yeah, it's 131. I don't think I inserted that thermometer right. Let me quickly, carefully reinsert it. That means pot holder, because the way it's going so fast, I'm thinking the thermometer might be touching something that it probably shouldn't. So, get this out. Ugh, kind of awkward. Come on, always something. There we go. Let's stick in. Nope. too far again. God damn it. There we go. That feels like it's nice and solid. Now let's see if that. Let's see if that brings the temperature down. And lo and behold, it did a little bit. We're now down to 113 degrees rather than 131. So that's probably more accurate, which means now that we've done that, let's put the next pot onto the burner. And since this is an enamel cast iron pot, I'm going to just heat it up at its very lowest setting while we prepare the pot, because I do want it to be hot enough so that it won't take too long to cook sauce. Actually, yeah, even before I say that, I will be able to heat it up a little bit more, because there's one other step I need to do. However, first things second, let's move this over a little bit, move the light over a little bit. And now let's go for our next step. And that is quite simply to quickly grind up some tomatoes. I'm going by the advice here of our friends at Serious Eats, aka the Food Lab, who suggest that you actually get more flavor by crushing or processing these tomatoes themselves, rather than simply buying canned crushed tomatoes that way. So I'm going by their advice on it. Besides, this won't take long anyway. Come on, let's do this right. I think you better look at this. And that's why I'm using such a big bowl as well, to avoid splatter as much as possible. Okay, and now that we've done that, back to the stove, because here's where I'm changing things around a little bit. And in fact, I think I can turn the heat up now, more or less, because of what I'm going to do next. Now, this is something that is not in the recipe from Serious Eats, because what I'm preparing is more of an Italian style pasta sauce. I mean, the recipe that I linked to, that I'm starting here, says this. They call this a red sauce, an American style red sauce, because it's it's your very basic sauce. But what it doesn't have, that you usually have with Italian style pasta sauce, is of course sausages. So what I want to do is cook these sausages and then cook the rest of the sauce in the rendered juice or fat, or what you call it, from the sausages. Which also means I forgot to take out my wooden utensils, which are of course essential for using enameled cast iron. All right, now that also means I think I made a mistake. I forgot to break these things up. Okay, then let's do this quickly. Probably the easiest way to do that would be, again, to do something a little bit non-traditional here. Snip, 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 and snip. I know you're supposed to use a knife for that, but I figure that should work just as well because I don't want sausage pieces. I do want the sausage to be spread out in the sauce. So open this up as best as we can. There we go. This is probably about as non-traditional as you can get. And here, it's really just a matter of cooking this until the sausage is done, and I'm hoping that won't take very long. Wow, if this is accurate, that chicken breast is already at 145 degrees, 147. I'm definitely gonna have to double check that as soon as it comes out. Anyway, let's throw this in. And since this sauce actually calls for the use of butter, let's throw in some butter right now, shall we? There we go. I definitely should have used some sausage without the skins on, but unfortunately I didn't have any of that on me, so I had to thaw out some existing sausage. Maybe I probably should have sliced it up. Oh, it'll manage. All right, let's do this. Possibly take the sausage out of the casing. Yeah, if that's at all possible. Let's see what we can do about that. There we go. We kind of like, there we go, kind of like scrape it out, I guess. Of course, the other thing I don't want to do is scratch the enamel. So basically, I'm just pulling it all apart. Come on, you know what? Trying to touch the enamel as little as possible with the metal. That's not bad. And again, in Italian style, pasta sauce uses a lot of pork. I grew up with an Italian family, so that's my understanding of it. American style pasta sauce uses a lot of ground beef, of course. And while they do use some ground beef in Italian sauces, pork is the primary meat. All right. Well, this is all like all of us in the kitchen. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, that's kind of the whole point here. I mean, how many times? I think I say every week that I'm not a professional, that I'm self-taught, etc., etc. But I sincerely mean it. You know, actually, I was at a music fest over the weekend. Those of you who have seen the last few short videos I posted, as well as my posts on Facebook, should know that I was just that. At an independent music festival hosted by a local band who are also friends of mine. They call themselves Rubik's Cube. And I did a fair amount of cooking and had a lot of fun at that festival. During, 160 already? Okay, let's hold tight here. because I definitely feel I need to make. Did I leave that on? I definitely need to double check this. I seriously am. Well, it's not impossible to think that this thing is. Let's turn this off. Already done. But let's move up here. Ah. Get that wire out of the way. I really don't think this thing hit 160 degrees already. So let's pull out the other probe thermometer. Let's see what this says. Yeah, now this thing is, well, says 132, 133. This one actually says 151, 154, 157, really? Huh. I'm a little surprised. 155, 156, 158. I am very surprised. Yet this part of the chicken here says, again, 154, 155. Okay. Then I guess I am, well, there are parts of it that still seem to be a little low. All right. Based on that, I think I'll just turn this heat back on here. Maybe for a minute, a couple of minutes or so, but really no more than that. Okay, get this out of the way before trouble happens. Yeah, see what I mean? Trouble. I kind of like I probably damaged the thermometer. Damn it. All right. Anyway. Okay. Only need to do this for like maybe a couple of minutes or so. That looks pretty good. Meanwhile, let's stir this, shall we? Yeah, it looks like I'm dirtying the bottom of this pot. So I can see sometime in the near future how to clean a dirty enameled cast iron pot. Well, we will burn that bridge when we come to it. Meanwhile, let's move back over here. I'm betting that's probably about all we need, in fact. So, because we don't want this to dry out, let me put this aside to rest. I'll put it over here. And very quickly, just cover it with foil, and we are good. That will be the first part of our dinner, which sure didn't take long at all. From here now, time to get back to the sausages and the sauce. Let's see if I can't give you folks a better view, if at all possible. All right. Okay, what I want is for the sausage to be cooked more than browned and blackened, although browned and blackened is also acceptable. Because once we do this, we will be preparing the sauce in the same pot. And again, that's why I use, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm not scratching the enamel as far as I know. This, again, is just the blackened bits. Can you see this okay, I hope? Let me try raising this a little bit and bringing it down. That's not a bad view. All right. Because, of course, nobody wants undercooked sausage, pork. Anyway, I can turn off the oven, so that's something. Because once we do that, I wonder how accurate the probe thermometer would be here to be sure that this thing has, in fact, cooked properly. If I stick it into here, come on, try that again. Ah, 174, 179. Okay, good. This one says 167, 172. All right. I think I've accomplished what I wanted, and we have cooked sausage. Good. That means we can return to our slight modification of the Serious Eats recipe and continue from there. Because now from here, all right, that means now we get to throw in some garlic, which I already crushed. The original recipe calls for extra virgin olive oil. Here I'm using the grease from the sausages on this garlic. Mm-hmm. And then to this, until the garlic begins to very gently sizzle, at which point then we add something a little different, which is maybe a dash of red pepper flakes. Give it a little bit of kick. Good. And then finally, well, it says here until the garlic begins to turn a light golden color, and it says I'm supposed to cook it for about 3 minutes. Of course, since this is a cast iron pot, who knows if I may have to shorten it or not. Because some of these little bits of garlic do look like they are already starting to brown up nicely. Into this, throw in some oregano. And yes, the recipe specifically says dried oregano. Calls for about a teaspoon of dried oregano. Which we'll be mixing in with this oil. I think just to be safe, think I will throw in a little bit of, just a bit of extra virgin olive oil to make sure that there's liquid in there. And there we go. I think that was the right thing to do. Because now here is where they go a little non-traditional with this recipe. Because at this point, I don't throw in the tomatoes yet. Rather, I throw in tomato paste. Apparently, the idea is this should help to give a more intense flavor. We will go from there. So we're kind of like making something of a roux for the sauce here. Interesting idea, I will say that much. And of course, we need to cook this much like the way we cook a roux until it definitely does not have an uncooked taste to it. And finally, everything cook. I see garlic, okay, then everything cook. About 3 minutes, at which point then okay, good. Okay. Just keep this going so it doesn't burn. Yeah, definitely this thing is unfortunately giving a nice blackened color to the bottom of this pot. So yeah, after this, I'm definitely gonna have to research. In fact, I should probably even turn this down a little bit. Definitely gonna have to research a burned enameled cast iron pot because that's exactly what's happening here, unfortunately. Doesn't help that it was not centered on the heat. Well, I'm the one who chose to do this, so I will be looking into solutions for this. All right. Even though this is very hot, I have to sample it a little bit. Okay, yeah, there's definitely, it does feel like the flavor is in there. Which means now we get to add the tomatoes. And there we go, off to a decent start already. At this point, since we've got the flavor base in there, apparently all we really need to do is cook it like this for, they say, 30 to 40 minutes until everything is nice and hot. I also recommend using the immersion blender at this point. So let's pull that over here. I think I had a dream recently about a sauce that burned. Yes, maybe this dream's coming true. I'm not worried about using the immersion blender in an enameled pot because the blades are not touching the the actual surface. There we go. That way, not only is the sausage mixed in, more importantly, the garlic is mixed in. And that was kind of the real reason for using the immersion blender, because the original recipe does not mention sausage, but it's all mixed together now. So it's really just a matter, again, cooking it until it's done. Not bad. Put some wine in there. Find making a gravy is a good way to clean a pan. Yeah, that's true. The wine doesn't sound like a bad idea. Let's see what I have here. Here we are. How about some Cabernet Sauvignon? Nice cheap wine that I regularly get at the liquor store. I love getting cheap discount wines for cooking because it works fine. It's cheap, and it is not cooking wine. I've given my opinion on so-called cooking wines, which are full of salt, or as Julia Child says, let me give you a better view of that. There we go. As Julia Child says, never cook with a wine or liqueur that you would not want to drink yourself. That should be enough. Because after all, if you're not going to drink it, why would you bother cooking with it? That's pretty much the same with any ingredient. There we go. And in addition to this, once everything is good and hot, I'll also be throwing in a little bit of fresh basil. But I'll wait a few more minutes for that. Okay. Anyway, as always, thanks to everybody who put up with me doing this without my being able to read for the comments. Wine for the pot and a little for your throat. Wine can add so much to many dishes. Yes, indeed. Bacon grease only splatters when you're half naked. That's true. Boiling water will work. Even simmering the tomato sauce will begin to deglaze the pan. Hopefully that'll be the case. Ricky Rolling, just checking the comments here. Hubby cooked an egg on the concrete steps today. Wow, yeah, I understand. It's actually definitely cooler here in New York. The temperature was mostly in the upper 70s today. So we are starting to get towards the end of August here. Very important to add the tomato paste to a hot pan, not into a sauce. That's kind of the idea, yes, because as I said, we made something of a tomato roux, I guess you could call it, a flavor base for this sauce. And so essentially what the tomatoes themselves are doing is, well, diluting everything so that we end up with with all of that flavor distributed throughout the sauce. And this is sure not taking long at all. In fact, I do believe it is time probably to move on. That means, see if I can arrange this right. While this is cooking, let's move this pan off the stove, which has served its purpose wonderfully. You know what? Extra grease. You know what I'm going to do? Extra grease. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Why waste it? There we go. Now let's move this over here. And that means we can move on to the next step. Actually, I'm going to have to fill that. Where I get to prepare for part 3, and that, of course, would be the pasta, which means say hello again to our Wagner Magnolite Dutch oven, which has really become something of a centerpiece in my kitchen, hasn't it? Well, that's, of course, is because boiling water, well, is something that you do all the time. So naturally, this thing is going to be used quite a bit. Keep stirring. As they didn't say in Finding Nemo, just keep stirring, just keep stirring. Probably turn down the heat a little bit more. While we're doing that, turn on the heat on here. There we go. Move this a little bit before it gets too hot. And time to dig out the salt. There we go. I've said many times this is the best water boiler I've ever used, and we're about to demonstrate that. As it is now 8:47 p.m., we can see how long it takes to bring that pot of water to a boil. All right, but now back to the sauce. Yeah, do you have cooking? Do you have cooking centers? Hot? Cooling centers. Cooling centers. Boy, at a glance, it looked like cooking centers, and at first I was trying to figure out what you were talking about. Community kitchens, which actually doesn't sound like a bad thing. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. Did you put the peanut chicken over rice? Yes, I did. What does peanut chicken taste like? Yeah, the bioclassic. Oh, hello, Papa Dan. I guess you have all these questions. Yeah, that bioclassic pot that cleaned out easier than I thought. Thank goodness for that. But yeah, I mean, I've had that thing for 12 years, 11 years. And while it's true, I have had to reseason it, including just yesterday. That actually was much easier to clean up than I thought. What does peanut chicken taste like? I can't answer that because your taste buds, not mine. I very much enjoy the flavor. When I first heard about ground nut stew and peanut butter chicken several years ago, that was one of those things that immediately caught my fancy and I immediately had to try. And I loved it. It's not really expensive, although peanut butter, unfortunately, is more expensive now than it used to be. But it is, and peanuts. But what can I say? The combination. I mean, you wouldn't think it's Yeah, the peanut sauce goes well with the chicken. Or as somebody pointed out again at the festival. I mean, I know peanut butter and chicken sounds unusual, and somebody commented, not really. I mean, after all, I eat Thai a lot, and Thai and you have peanut sauce with just about everything in Thai food. So, like it says, yeah, it makes a nice combination, especially since the groundnut stew thing. Again, there are about 100 different variations, and you can add as much or as little spices to it as you like. I'm more of a mild spice person myself, so my groundnut stew is fairly mild. But as I said, I enjoy it a lot. I have that recipe on my website for ground nut stew. And if you're not happy with it, you can always, of course, try one yourself. Yeah, actually, that immersion blender did a great job chopping everything up, chicken and the garlic. So far, so good. I have a stock already. I like a little basil and anchovy. Good point. It's about time, I think. Let me double check the recipe here. But I do believe you're right because add basil and simmer, stirring occasionally until sauce is reduced and tastes rich. So, as you said, let us get out. Well, not lettuce. We're not putting lettuce into this. Let's get out basil. And of course, once this is done, much like bay leaves, I'm going to have to fish out the basil. But that should not be difficult once it's done. Anyway, so far so good. The chicken, as I said, the chicken actually cooked a lot faster than I expected. If I'd known it would have been that fast, I would have made this sauce first and then did the chicken. But that's how it turned out. And I have the water boiling for the pasta. So this really has not taken very long. All told, we've been here, well, now about 50 minutes. But again, that's because I'm taking the time. I mean, there is nothing wrong with using store-bought ingredients. You can use jarred pasta sauce all you like. It's fun. I personally think homemade is better, though of course the other part is homemade takes more effort, resources, and time to make. So that's why if you wanted to just simply use jarred sauce, and all you'd really have to do is sear that chicken in the pan, make the pasta, heat up your jarred sauce, and then you're ready. This is there's a mistake in this. I do not. I mean, the recipe calls for kosher salt, yet I have not seen any point in this recipe to add it. So there's a mistake in this. In which case, I'd better put some salt in there. Granted, there is salt as well in the sausage. Although remember, the original recipe did not call for sausage, but this should work out fine. Yes, I used kosher salt this time. I salted the water with regular iodized salt. Again, I'm not going on to some kind of a political rant here. I have not had a problem with iodized salt. Grew up having iodized salt all my life. I don't have any problem with the taste of it. So there are some people who claim that you can taste the chemicals in iodized salt. I never could. On the other hand, as far as chemicals go, iodine is good for you. That's the reason why they added it to iodized salt. This whole thing actually comes from, I believe, around the early 20th century or so, where there were more reports of goiter, essentially inflamed thyroid and swollen thyroid glands because people were not getting enough iodine, which regularly comes from fish. People would normally eat a lot of seafood, but of course, American culture changed. More people living in cities away from the coast, and so had a lot less access to fish and iodine. As a result, thyroid problems became more noticeable, and they put a solution into place by working with the salt industry to create, well, iodized salt with iodine mixed in, and it worked because, well, thyroid problems are nowhere near as bad and have not been for a long time. So I, for one, do not have a problem with iodized salt. I also do not have a problem with kosher salt. I love it. Sea salt it's okay. It's a luxury. I really can't taste much of a difference between sea salt and, say, kosher salt. And that's my comments on salt, I guess. I'm hoping maybe by this weekend or so I'll be able to do a more long form video on those Syracuse salt potatoes. All right. You can get them anyway, regular oregano or magic oregano. This case is regular oregano. I actually do not indulge in magic herbs. I never really have on any kind of a regular basis, and I'm not faking it. I all my life I have been, I don't know if you call it a coward, but I have been too scared to try that stuff for my entire life. So, I mean, my rationale has been I've always been afraid that I would like it and then I would never be able to refuse it. So, I've honestly, I don't smoke. I've never liked the taste of beer. I have maybe a glass of alcohol maybe once every few months. A couple of months ago, at the beginning of summer, I was at a bar and I had a rum and coke. That shows you how often I drink. Um, and as far as other edibles or psychedelics are concerned, I will honestly and truthfully say I've never really done that. When it's been offered to me, and it has been offered to me, I have politely turned it down. So yes, this is regular oregano. Yeah. All right. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, it's been almost 10 minutes. That is not boiling yet, but it should be boiling soon. This, on the other hand, I can definitely turn this down a little bit more. Okay, and turn it down now to a low heat here. Just keep stirring. Oh man, though, does this smell good? So yeah, but there you go. Actually, that means this was pasta sauce prepared in about 30 minutes, I would say. So there you go, homemade pasta sauce in 30 minutes. I made the additional step of throwing in sausages and adding that to the sauce, which means I better sample a little bit of it. Just a little bit, mind you. Mm, I can definitely taste it, but what it needs pepper. All right. Keep up what you're doing for addictive substances. Well, I hope so. I mean, I'm at this age now, so at least I can honestly say I don't. Well, never mind. At least I've spent my life in this manner, and I really don't think I even have to say any more about that. Because yes, I do have friends who indulge. I have had friends who unfortunately have been seriously addicted. And, well, all I can do is offer my support. Okay, back to that other subject. Yeah, thank you very much, Papa. Dan, like button. Yes, thank you so much. Needs chunky vegetables in it. At this point, I suppose I could throw in some mushrooms if I wanted to. All right. But I do have to just keep stirring, just keep stirring. There we go. And I see the telltale steam coming from the pot, meaning that there we go. We got a nice rolling boil here. So that means finally, the last step is the pasta, which I did not make from scratch. As I mentioned, I have unfortunately barely had any luck in my very few attempts to make homemade pasta. So I do still use the store-bought stuff, which I have never had a problem with. This, by the way, is angel hair. Nice and thin, which should cook very quickly. And I do not break my pasta because I like slurping my noodles. Also, don't want to get my hand in there. So, but as you can see, this stirred in with no difficulty at all. cover the pot again for about a minute or so. Where did I just put that cover? Yeah. Oh, there it is. It's right here in the back. Only for about a minute or so. Meanwhile, we've got to keep stirring the pot here. Stirring the pot. Shit. Lately, I've been accused of stirring the pot with my political stuff. But I've said this before, I'm not going to change what I'm doing because, well, again, this is my channel and it's my personal stuff and my opinions. I do not flood this thing with political propaganda because I'm not interested in it. I just occasionally feel the urge to do it. And since it seems that the video I posted last night is video number 1000, that includes all those short videos, though. The political content of my channel is very, very low, and that's how I like it. Yes, I do make the occasional political stance because it's what I want to do, but I'm not obsessing over it. I make those political things because I think they're important to myself, at least. Okay, back to the sauce. All right. All Eltree, all hope all goes well for either you or someone else or someone you're visiting. Beans or sugar? Oh yeah, there we go. Talk about politics, mind you. And here's the thing: is that I mean, I like them both way. And yeah, can honestly say that I like chili with beans. I like chili without beans. I like cornbread without sugar. I grew up with cornbread with sugar, and I love cornbread with sugar. I love pineapples on pizza. Yes, Italian deep dish pizza. No, I'm sorry. Chicago deep dish pizza is pizza. I'm sure there are other toes I can tread on too. Well, for starters, this particular pasta sauce recipe probably goes against a whole bunch of Italian tradition. How dare I use tomato paste in this, and not just simply San Marzano tomatoes? So there you go. This is non-traditional in itself, and I think it's about time to Yep, just in time. Fortunately, the angel hair should not take long at all to cook. Everyone loves angel hair pasta. I think because of its consistency. I mean, it is still the same pasta. You know, there are a lot of people who say that different shapes of pasta taste differently, and they provide various reasons, which are all questionable. I think largely it's a matter of opinion. But you know how it is when we're kids, for instance. You know, I don't want elbow macaroni. I want wagon wheels. Things like that. And back here, keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. Yeah, definitely. Once this pasta is ready, everything is going to be done. I mean, we can see that. So there we go. That means with all the prep work and everything, it took a little bit more. It took just about an hour. And yet, we've got pan-seared chicken breast, homemade pasta sauce, and angel hair pasta. Not bad. Which means what I really need to do is start preparing to plate it. So, fortunately, this BSR skillet has cooled down a little bit. I can move that safely to the side. I can clean a couple of things up over here. Unplug my immersion blender because, yeah, leaving something with a blade plugged in is not a good thing. Keep stirring. Keep stirring. I should probably start taste testing this pasta at this point, especially since, again, angel hair should cook pretty quickly. And oh yeah, this is a lesson I learned from Alton Brown when I was learning how to cook pasta for the first time. I am definitely one who prefers tasting the pasta rather than throwing it against the wall. Hot, 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 hot. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. I think we are at about that point already. That sure did not take long. I forgot one thing. Forgot the colander. All right. So that means we can turn this off. Turn this off too. And get my pot holders out. Alas, no sign of my neighbor because, I've got plenty of food here. Which means I may have to end up doing what I've been doing, which is slowly working my way through it. But now, at last, I believe it is time to plate. Oh, I apologize again. I haven't been able to do much conversation with the comments. As you can see, I've been, again, busy concentrating on this cooking here. But I do feel the end result will be worth it. Because, here we go. Now we get to move over here. This is the part that they would normally edit out in a typical edited video, but well, since I'm doing this live, you get to see all this. Let's see, it's not centered. There we go. Okay, here we go. That means I need to bring this over. Ugh. And this will not take long at all. Because here comes angel hair. Oof. Okay, there we are. That is step one. Now comes step two, which is the sauce. It should have used a bigger trivet. And the sauce is not watery either. I'd say the sauce is nicely reduced. And this is a meat sauce because we do have our, there we go, we do have our sausage mixed in with it. And finally, last but definitely not least, is our chicken. Where did I put that just now? There it is. There we go. Move that light over a little bit. Center this for you folks. And finally, I think it would actually, I think the photo op would be improved if I cut the chicken. At least I hope it will. There we go. And there we go. Haha. And so, voila. Dinner is served. Or, there's this channel I've been following who calls himself Anti-Chef, who does a lot of Julia Child um, recipes. And his kitchen adventures are even more chaotic than mine. And yeah, as he likes to say, order up, which means, excuse me, let's get a couple of photos here. Maybe move the light around. There we go, the last time. One of these will be the thumbnail photo for this video. And with that, there we go. Order up, folks. Did anyone make cornbread with cowboy candy? Not yet. I'll have to do that later. But there we go. As I said, this is our pasta, our chicken breast, roasted chicken breast on pasta. Do you do collaboration? I've done a couple of videos, one with conversation videos or interview videos, one with the Mudbrooker, one a couple of years ago with Mr. Cast Iron, and they were a lot of fun. If that's what you mean by collaboration, yeah, I guess I have. If you're talking about actually cooking with someone, well, I haven't done that very much on these live videos. Definitely need to. I mean, I wouldn't mind it because if it saves some work. All right, now I have to make me something to eat. Yes, exactly. So, yes. Oh, yes, some Parmesan on top. Thank you very much. Thank you for that comment there because guess what? We have Parmesan. I did forget and I very much apologize. So let's pull out the Parmesan. Mobley looks like she's come in for the night. That's nice. Oh, did it again. There we go. As you asked, we now have Parmesan. Maybe I should take another photo of that, I think. So, pull out the phone camera one last time. So thank you very much for the suggestion there. And a couple of basil leaves to make it pop and picture perfect. All right, we've gone this far. I'm letting the internet tell me what to do. This is always a good idea, I'm sure. But nonetheless, come on. This container here is like, ugh. Okay. Admittedly, small basil leaves, but still. Maybe one more over here. There we go. How about that? How many people here take photos of dinner? Welcome to the age of the internet where food porn is rampant. They've got a lot of people making comments about that. You always have to take pictures of your food. And this channel here is but one of many examples. So there we go again. And there's a whole Facebook group dedicated to this, the Cast Iron Cooking Group, which has 400,000 people on it. So, yes, a lot of people take pictures of their food. Basil garnish for the money shot. Okay. We put fresh grated Asiago cheese out on our pasta tonight. Well, that sounds a lot better than this, in fact, Terry. I'm sure there's any number of ways this can be improved, but I like to think that this actually turned out pretty good here. Okay, Rick D gets down. I'm waiting on a few pounds of jalapenos before I make mine. Ooh, I know a lady who makes candied jalapenos. I'd like to see it with CIC and Uncle Roger. That's never gonna happen. I'm a nobody. Uncle Roger is famous. He's he's joked around with people like Josh Wiseman and Gordon Ramsay. And to be absolutely honest, and this is a matter of opinion only, folks, I'm not a fan of Uncle Roger. He is actually an insult comedian, a polite insult comedian. There are a lot of people who are a lot worse and really go out of their way to really rip into their targets, but his comedy is essentially insult comedy. And I'm not really a fan of that. So that is my opinion. That's all. I'm not calling for Uncle Roger to be taken away or anything like that. He is just not my kind of comedian. So sorry to have to say that, but I am being honest there. A couple of years ago, Uncle Roger did this video making fun of Kent Rollins Rice, Cowboy Rice. And I felt I had to post a comment on Kent Rollins' video defending Kent Rollins. So, because as I said, I feel just that. That granted, that was Uncle Roger's shtick, insulting other famous cooks' food, but I just could not keep my mouth shut. I never got a reply from him or from anyone else, but that's just it. Given a choice, I actually preferred Kent Rollins. So even though I'm not crazy about Kent Rollins either. So yes, he is, but he can make good fried rice. Yes, he can. I've seen him make fried rice. And he probably would not like my fried rice either for that reason. So never heard of Uncle Roger, but I like Kent. Is that a Scottish plate Shriner as well? No, actually, that in fact, about a month ago, I came across a set of plates from a local Masonic lodge, a Mason or Freemason lodge that had apparently shut down in my area, and this had been salvaged from them. So that is what that is. That is the Freemasonry symbol. And I got that large, first of all, because they're nice plates. But I will admit, once again, I got it to stir the pot because, Freemasonry, as some people know, is at the center of a whole bunch of ridiculous conspiracy theories. And yeah, it is hilarious to see some of the crazy things they say about Freemasons. There's a whole subculture of conspiracy theories about Freemasonry, including all the way up to Jack the Ripper being involved with it. So, and it's especially to troll those people that I wanted to get these plates here and occasionally display them in my videos. I've gotten a couple of comments already, not really crazy ones, but a couple. Like, for instance, when I did a political video about a couple of weeks ago, celebrating indictment number 3, I think it was. Somebody posted a comment saying, a Freemason celebrating the indictment. Meaning, gee, I wonder if the Freemasons are behind the trouble that good old is facing. So that's what I mean. And I'm not going to get into that very much more, other than that I got these plates to have fun with them, and that's about it. I promise you. So Cowboy Ken cooks good, and if you can take all the antics, yeah, that's the thing. I'm not crazy about Cowboy Kent. I'm not crazy about the antics, and frankly, Kent Rollins does not give good advice about maintaining and taking care of cast iron, which could be a whole nother subject in itself. But I'm not. I really am not the type of person who will go out of my way to bash people. I like to think I'm not anyway. I don't want to sound too ego like that. So I'm not going to say too much about Kent Rollins or Uncle Roger for that matter, other than I kind of disagree with them. And that's really all I feel I should say. So I don't know who Uncle Roger is either. Cowboy Kent has some good and some not so good ideas. Yes, exactly. So I need to get some Freemason plates myself. Yeah. I'll be celebrating with powdered donuts when the political tables turn. Well, we'll see what happens there. All right. Let's get back to easy stuff like what oil is best for seasoning. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to get into politics right now because we're just here to have some fun. And again, here we go. I've got, what can we say? We've got a nice plate of chicken here. And I'm actually quite happy with with how it turned out. I mean, this is good, nice, moist chicken. And I can safely say it's not dried out. Look at this. I can cut the chicken with a fork, and there is a lot of moisture in it, and it is not coming apart. Mm. Oh, with a basil leaf, no less. So I guess I'll have to sample this chicken. Oh yeah. Hmm. Mm. I love the suggestion of cooking a chicken the way you'd cook a steak. This thing tastes terrific. So I guess that means really all we can do at this point is, well, have some dinner and enjoy ourselves. And so, yeah. But there we go. Once again, I got to play with some cast iron tonight, and thank you very much. I'm hoping I did my best to keep everybody entertained. As I said, I couldn't take part in the conversations very much because I was busy cooking. Next week, just today, I got this wonderful suggestion. That apple peeler I got, and somebody pointed out that you could do the same thing with a potato, and I did a short video of using that potato to make a spiral potato. Well, it seems like there is a Korean street food that especially consists of fried spiral potatoes. So yeah, I definitely have to give that a try. I'll get to play with my apple peeler, and next week we'll see what it's like to make Korean tornado potatoes. Look it up on Google or on YouTube. Tornado potatoes. I've seen some amazing Korean street food. That Korean stuff is incredible. And if I ever had a chance to go to Korea just to try out all of the street food they have there, that would be an adventure in itself. But that's what we have to look forward to next week, I hope. And I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed this tonight. I think this turned out very well. Besides the fact that it looks nice, the chicken turned out good, the pasta turned out good, the sauce turned out excellent. Yeah, I like I like this. It's something to consider as well. I mean, we made this sauce in less than an hour, including the sausages. So that is definitely something I would certainly recommend there as well. So I feel that this is a nice, successful evening, and I can only thank everybody once again for for watching and for hanging around all this time, and especially I'm hoping you folks had fun. I certainly did. This is why I do this. I love doing these live videos because, well, as I say every week, they're a lot of fun to do, and it's you folks who make them so much fun. And I can only thank everybody here for that. Debbie and Rick Stumbaugh and Dean Reedy and Val's Black Cats Rules, Corey Clark, Cynthia R, Jay Wilson, and so many others for making this such an enjoyable time for me tonight. I love it. And yeah, I knew those spiral taters would cook up good as soon as I saw you do them. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, which is why we will wrap up here, enjoy ourselves on this Wednesday night, and get ready for next week, where we'll do this all over again, play with spiral potatoes and see how they turned out. So yes, indeed, exactly, Jerry, 1952. I always end this the same way because, again, it's a quote from my all-time favorite movie. That would be 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they say, as always, see you next Wednesday.